Joining us from Portland, Oregon, Tommy, the human body snatcher O'Neal.
Yes,
Find him
I
on
love it.
the Boxing channel on YouTube. That is Tommy's channel. It is space boxing, as in delicious boxing. So boxing. Find him on YouTube. Tommy, welcome to a new MMA show. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you school us on this huge heavyweight matchup coming up this weekend between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. First off, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm so grateful to be on the show. Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Mike. I've been watching you guys since you started up. I love the podcast.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's very cool, and I think that maybe this could be a good thing. I very much enjoy MMA, but I'm kind of a diehard boxing fan. So glad to be here. Glad to talk some boxing.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Welcome. This is awesome. I'm glad that we have you on here. Honored to have you, my cousin, for those who may not know, as our first guest on the program here.
As it should,
yeah, man.
Right?
So, to start it off, obviously, you know a lot more than we do about boxing. We're kind of in our MMA bubble here. So if you just want to set it up for us, you know, what the fight is that we're looking at here this weekend.
So this weekend we got Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, number 3. Now, arguably, this fight, I get stoked about the fight, but the first fight, arguably, it was a great fight. Tyson Fury got knocked down, twice. They ended up calling it a draw. I kind of am more along the lines that he won at least 9 of those 12 rounds. But they set up a rematch nonetheless. Tyson Fury absolutely came in. He's a boxer. He's a boxer, not a brawler, even though he's a very large man himself. But he said he's going to knock Wilder out, came into that second fight and just did work on him. Just absolutely did work on him. And just left no kind of, in my opinion, no question mark about that first fight after those knockdowns. But they are setting up the third fight. It's boxing. It's a different sport. You get these kind of money fights, and it captures, the attention of the nation, to kind of make it comparison for, MMA fans. A lot of MMA, but especially the UFC, they have put on constant good events. But when you get an epic boxing event, there's kind of nothing like it, and that's what we have here. We have a very angry, agitated Deontay Wilder coming in hot. And I do believe either way, it's going to be an absolute spectacle to watch. The press conferences were, it's epic.
Have you seen Deontay Wilder's new walkout uniform?
I have not. Schooled me on that. Is it 40 pounds? What's going on?
It looks like it might be 400 pounds.
But you really saw it already, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
At least
that's awesome, dude. Doubling down. I love it. Argue about the 40 pounds and then let's make it 400. I love it.
At least what the post made it seem like this is going to be his new outfit.
Yes.
And it has like lasers coming out of his head,
oh my God,
out of his shoulders.
Well, have you seen the old you've seen the old outfits, right?
Oh,
they're kind of similar.
Yes. So I'm on this note of the outfits before we really get into the fight. I'm curious what you make of like Deontay Wilder's mindset right now, because obviously he threw out every excuse in the book from the last fight between the outfit and the water, and they shouldn't have thrown the towel, and then the loaded gloves, and and then I don't know what has happened in the past week or so. I've been a little out of it, but I saw him at the press conference, didn't take the headphones off the whole time. So I'm just curious where you think he's at mentally coming into this thing.
I think in a very bad place. Because people like to make like the, it's to help sell the fight, to make it like these are the storylines of Deontay Wilder is this is his revenge story that maybe he only believes, and he's a man possessed coming into this. The truth is that you really don't. I mean, I'm sure this crosses to MMA. This is just like combat sports. The truth is, you can put on a facade, like a kind of a McGregor or a Mike Tyson, for instance. They put on and have, will admit, they'll put on an intimidation factor. They'll put on a sort of a facade, not that it's fake, but they have confidence, but they'll say whatever, but they know. I mean, the best people know when you're a fighter, you don't want to actually go in mad. You want to go in confident. You don't want to go in mad. That's not a good idea when you're like, I mean, that's probably not a good idea. Maybe Omar can attest. I know Omar trains a bit. I found it's not even a good idea in amateur little training stuff, learning stuff. It's not even a good idea there. So I doubt that it's going to be a good idea, against the most elite world-class champions to come in super hot and just fired up and looking for nothing but a right hand against one of the most savage boxers with one of the most incredible, I want to touch on this real quick. One of the most incredible body types. Tyson Fury is 6'9" and 270 pounds. He has love handles out the side and he moves like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
swear to God, he moves like Muhammad Ali, head movement and all. And then showed in that second fight, that's always how he's boxed. And then showed in that second fight, I could just bully this guy too,
Yeah.
I think it's
amazing to see him move. Yeah.
It's always been apparent to me too. And I've said this to the boys constantly, even before we really got into all this, like Deontay Wilder, for as successful as he's been, has never really impressed me when it comes to boxing. In fact, he kind of angers me when he comes to boxing a little bit because he gets away with murder because of how powerful he is. Like if you watch a lot of his fights, when he gets somebody hurt, right? Let's say he lands a straight on them, because he does a lot.
That's his one shot.
But he'll have them rocked and it's like he windmills everything. If the boy would just take a second and just like tighten up his shots, just tighten them up just a little bit, he would actually land something. Instead, he's landing like the inside of his forearm, the inside of his elbow on these dudes, like on their arms and stuff. There's zero accuracy, zero like strategy. He's basically just trying to hit them with a blunt object as many times as he can, hoping they'll fall to their knees. And it might work with the power that he has. But again, once you find somebody just like Tyson Fury that knows how to box properly, and apparently
that's an understatement,
but also apparently his relatives with the Undertaker, it's a problem. it is 100% a problem,
but he almost had that success in their first fight. He knocked Tyson Fury down twice.
Yeah.
The
Undertaker moment was one of the greatest moments I've ever seen.
If you didn't see Deontay's face go almost white when Tyson Fury got up from that shit.
Can I attest to something?
Yeah.
I will place bets sometimes, whatnot. I won't lie to you guys. I could take the perfect opportunity now, like, I know what I'm talking about. I won't lie to you guys. The first fight, I picked Tyson Fury to win it. I thought he did win it. The fact that either way, because he won, it's boxing. You judge it round by round. MMA, same thing. You judge it round by round. If you judge the whole fight, Max Holloway would have won the second Volkanovski. But it's round by round, right? So he won most of the rounds. But the fact that he did get caught with those it just looked like it killed him. Get the smelling salts out, because that was scary. The fact that he got caught like that, not once, but twice, and dropped that badly, I actually picked Deontay Wilder to win that second fight, and then was just stunned, mind blown. Wow. Not that he didn't win, but he was always gonna, before that fight happened, he was always, if he lost, he was gonna lose by points. Never like that. Never like that. That shocked the world that he lost like that. But the thing about his power, he's aggravating to watch. He is not a boxer. Now, the thing is, I enjoy both. I very much enjoy a good technician, watching a good technician. And I like watching a good brawler with a chin on him. And he comes in, likes to get in the pocket. I like both. But you got to have a little of both. And then you lean to one side. I've never seen anyone like Deontay Wilder before, because yeah, he's got real power. That's what people talk about. It's totally true, Omar. But, you know, if I can touch on some here, he's got power in only his right hand, and he doesn't have power in his own. I mean, he has some power, but he doesn't have that death touch in an overhand right. He does clubbing rights. He doesn't have the death touch in a right hook, you know, check hook. He doesn't. All he has is a straight right hand.
Mhm.
That's the only punch he has. Now, in the history of boxing, you know, the great punchers of boxing, you know, Ernie Shavers, Julian Jackson, Mike Tyson, these guys had power in both hands.
Oh yeah, man.
And these guys also, like, especially like an Ernie Shave, more than Julian Jackson, he was a bit of a brute, but especially a Mike Tyson or an Ernie Shavers, they had loads of boxing ability. And to a casual fan, maybe wouldn't appreciate seeing that because they'd knock everybody out in the first round. But their head movement, their slips, their those shots, they're not are counters. This is boxing. But Deontay Wilder, if you go back and look at all of his fights, he literally, I mean, he lost every single round in both Luis Ortiz fights until he didn't.
I was gonna say until he knocked Luis Ortiz on his ass 100%.
Both times though, he
with
just
straight rights.
Straight rights,
dude. And I mean, they blasted him though. I mean,
that one time he hit Ortiz, I think right on the forehead. He's like disconnected his brain.
Right? Yeah.
So Tommy, hearing you talk about the first two fights, like obviously we've seen Fury show now that he can kind of beat Wilder in two different ways. Like the first fight, he kind of sat back and outboxed him more, I would say. Second fight, he kind of just big manned him and walked him down. With that being said, if you're game planning for Deontay Wilder, what are you advising him that he needs to do in there?
He needs to go. Well, first off, before I say this, I don't think you can make up for that much lacking in boxing ability in a year or two period. Really, I mean that's why I'm pretty confident about this pick here. But if I had to advise, I think what he's doing, what he's showing, as long as he brings that to the fight, his training footage is a lot of going to the body. I think that's what you need to do. You know, Tyson Fury, he's beautiful technician. His head movement's off the charts, but Deontay Wilder's head hunting. And so he's just using that head movement. And if you watch back the fights, both the fights, you know, Tyson Fury, he's a big guy. He's all body. He's all torso. You know, he's all torso and long arms. But so he used that head movement, but he'll even be comfortable like a Mayweather against the ropes. Yeah. And he'll use that head movement, but his body stays stationary. He's not like a belly dancer like Alexander Usyk or anything. His body stays tight and he just plants his feet and moves his head very well. You got to go to the body on him when you get him to the ropes. You got to frighten him. You got to feint. You got to throw little jabs that are not intending on knocking him out. And you got to just force him to move towards the ropes, towards the corner. And when you get him there, you got to go to the body. You got to body snatch him.
Sounds easy, man. It's easy.
I mean, honestly, realistically, and it's one of the reasons why I don't think he'll ever win another fight against Tyson Fury at this point, because or a fight, I guess I should really say, against Tyson Fury, because at this point he would need to outbox Tyson Fury. That's a fact. That he would need to outbox Tyson Fury in order to really win that fight. He could catch him, sure, but there's always that chance. But you can't. That's not a game plan. Like you can't game plan to knock somebody out. You can't go and like get that right hand on his chin. So the game plan, the only game plan that there really is to outbox Tyson Fury, and it's not going to happen. Tyson Fury, first of all, for any fighter, having the rhythm control that Tyson Fury has to keep a certain pace and to keep a certain rhythm and to break the rhythm of his opponents.
Good man.
Jab. I mean, he's fantastic and he's gigantic in doing it. Like the way that he had Wilder on his back foot for a majority, especially of that second fight, and Wilder didn't know how to get off of the back foot because he doesn't know how to box like that. Like he doesn't get bullied. He doesn't get put on his back foot until he gets, a shot off. But most people aren't disrupting his rhythm to the point where Wilder feels uncomfortable throwing shots. Fury never let him off. Fury throws volume the way that heavyweights just don't. And his ability to mess up people's rhythm while keeping his own and switching up his rhythm from an on beat to an off beat Wilder's going to get his ass beat. That's really what's going to happen. He's going to get his ass beat. I mean,
Fury's gifted.
Unless and if Wilder wins, I can't imagine he wins by anything short of the most impressive performance of his entire career. Honestly,
he could win with that straight right hand lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I obviously I have more confidence in Fury's chin than I think I have anybody's at this point.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Tommy, how do you see this thing playing out?
God, I mean, yeah, I think I see it playing out that what I actually see is that Tyson Fury does the same thing as the second fight, because Tyson Fury has shown he can outbox him. I think he does the same thing because he said that after that first fight, that not even the first but the second knockdown, and it was either the 10th or the 12th round, like real tail end of the fight. What the same round that he was dead in the ring and Undertaker back up, he said that was when he figured it out, because if you go back and watch that second knockdown, that was the real bad one that he gets back up from, he wins the rest of that round. Now he loses the round because that vicious knockout, but what I'm saying is he takes over from there though. Mm-hmm. He has a very good finish to that round, and that's because he said, I just got pissed and thought, fuck this guy. I'm going to just put him on his back foot. Let's see how he does with that. And he literally has said, that he did that. And he thought, wow, God damn it. I should have done this the whole time. The guy can't fight off the back foot. So I think that Tyson Fury goes out and just basically doubles up on that performance. And I think that, Wilder's always got that shot with the straight right hand. Now, the thing is I don't believe that he'll set it up. And like Omar touched on, like the game plan to outbox Fury is never going to happen, obviously. But what Deontay Wilder should do is, like I say, should go to the body when he's against, but also he should know what he's good at. He's good at that straight right. So instead of exchanging with Fury, like he's always done, instead of just exchanging really ever when they're throwing, when Fury's throwing to exchange, just wait and just time one shot, man. You just need, if you have that death touch, you don't need to be the best. Just slip one good shot and wait for it. See what he does. Wait for it and wait for that one moment, so that you can't make up for all this boxing ability in that short amount of time. But you can just game plan on lean into what you're good at. That's what he would have to do. But I think that Fury doubles up on that. Yeah, that second fight game plan. I think he goes out to do that again. And now also the interesting thing will be, Deontay Wilder, after the walkout gear, he's complaining about, I weigh 40 pounds. I carry my kid on the beach and she's 45 pounds. Like, that's ridiculous. My legs weren't there, he complained about that. But the real bad thing he did was firing Mark Breland. Mark Breland, is a kind of one of the prides of New York boxing. Mark Breland's a Golden Glove, an Olympic boxer, who medaled in the Olympics. He didn't have the best pro career, but it was all right as well. He's a very good, now he's an older guy, and he's been with Wilder since the beginning of his career for 44, 45 fights. And to let that guy go, because he's literally the only person who cared about you at all that night, is a shame. It's a shame. But it's good. The boxing community reached out, said, Mark Breland, every gym, Mark Breland, you got a job here. You come here, because he threw in the towel. The interesting thing is, he said no one's going to throw in the towel on him this time. So, God, what happens then? He is a prideful man. I'll give him that. We don't want to downplay his heart here. He did do that out of rage because he wanted to keep going. I believe, man, he'll get knocked down and he'll get back up. And if no one's going to throw in the towel on this guy, what's he going to do? Flip out on the referee when he stops it? Because he's going to keep trying to get back up. And that's something I'm kind of looking for to see. Honestly, again, it's the spectacle of this thing.
So you think it is a stoppage? If you were predicting?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a round or a point in the fight where you think it's going to happen?
10th round,
Probably
10th
late.
round.
Yeah, I was
referee stoppage.
Let me ask you this:
if there's a gun to my head, very good. That very aside from that, he could win on points, but I definitely predict there's knockdowns in this fight, even if Deontay hangs in there for till the end of it.
Let me ask you this: in my opinion, Fury is a big favorite. In Omar's, it sounds like Fury's a big favorite. In yours, it sounds like Fury's a big favorite. The betting lines that I saw this morning were Fury minus 290. Wilder plus 230. Now, even in MMA, that's not that wide. Like, it's wide, but it's not crazy wide. In boxing, that's not wide at all. Like, boxing odds are usually a lot wider than MMA odds. Why do you think they're that close?
I don't know. I've wondered about this as well. I got odds, by the way, where he's a minus 270.
Wow, that's
that's like a pick 'em for boxing. I don't know why. I mean, because these are odds makers who usually they don't get swayed by kind of media or the hype of a fight.
Right.
So I don't know why, because the only thing I can think of is them getting literally swayed by the hype of the fight. He's got that power though. He's always got that shit. I don't know. I would bet put your mortgage on it. This Tyson Fury wins this fight, dude. And at those odds, it's pretty good. Can I list the undercard super fast?
Yeah, so I was going to ask you. Obviously, as MMA fans, we're used to some stacked cards. Boxing, maybe not so much, but let us know if there's anything else we should be keeping an eye on here.
There is. This is boxing, so God bless us all. We're watching this sport. You know what I mean? But you guys are not like, I don't know some of these names myself, and I consider myself a pretty diehard, boxing fan. And the lights went off for me. Sweet. Okay. we're working out. Okay. This is
make sure your car battery doesn't die, bud.
No doubt, dude. No doubt. Good looking out, Mike. So, the undercard, you might not know these guys, but there are good fights. Now, Mark, you touched on the odds, for that Fury fight being close. So here's the undercard it starts off with Jared Anderson, who's a very, very good up and coming heavyweight. He might be the next best thing. Kind of the next kind of prodigy heavyweight guy. And he's great. He's a knockout artist. He's fun to watch. He's gonna get another stoppages. He's nothing but stoppages. He's fighting a guy. I'll be honest. He's fighting a guy I never heard of. They don't have odds out for this yet. I bet the guy's Jared Anderson's probably going to be like a minus 8,000 favorite or something. But aside from that, we got Adam Kownacki taking on Robert Helenius, and Kownacki is a minus 270, Helenius a plus 220. I actually, if you want to get a little dicey on this card, I like Helenius a lot as an underdog in this fight. He's a puncher, and Kownacki's coming off of a loss against a puncher, and Helenius is a big puncher, and he's got a chin on him. If he gets he's in the fight all the time, barely ever gets stopped. I like him as a dog for this one. And then we got Frank Sanchez taking on F.A. Ajagba, and Sanchez a minus 180, Ajagba plus 155. So just even to touch on those odds, that's kind of going to show you these are good fights. You might not have heard of these people, but these aren't your typical, minus 5,000, minus 10,000 boxing odds where they just, kind of showcase a fighter against a cab driver. These are good fights. You may never heard of them, but I do think that this card actually really holds up as far as being very entertaining. The pay-per-view is like $80. You're pretty much going to pay that for Wilder Fury, but I bet you these fights are very entertaining on this undercard as well. Very close and could go either way.
I like him.
Nice.
I got one more for you, if I may. I don't know if you guys have one more as well. If we look into the crystal ball a little bit and we assume Tyson Fury wins this fight, obviously we just had recently Alexander Usyk beating Anthony Joshua. Now, to my understanding, they have to do a rematch, which was in the contract there, so they're going to have to run that back. If Usyk wins again, do you think that he can pose a challenge to Tyson Fury, or is Fury just too big? Because obviously Usyk is a cruiserweight who has moved up to heavyweight here,
Right.
which is less of a factor against a Joshua than it would be against a Fury. But I'm curious as to your take. I know you love you some Usyk, and you pretty much called that Usyk Joshua fight on your podcast.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So you're posing the question as, does he pose a challenge? Absolutely, dude.
Wow.
Absolutely, he poses a challenge.
It's good to hear.
Tyson Fury. Now, gun to my head, if I have to really make a pick on that fight, because by the way, again, I believe that I'm not here to bash anybody. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just giving my take without kind of, sugarcoating it at all. I believe Anthony Joshua is a broken man. He'll lose that second fight. He'll lose that second fight again. He's not, what's he gonna do? If he came in there with that game plan to box with, he's gonna lose that second fight. But he'll absolutely pose a challenge to Tyson Fury. Alexander Usyk's an absolute savage. Like I said, I used the term belly dancer earlier for Alexander Usyk. That's because Usyk's got head movements, slips, feints, counters off the slips. He also, the belly dancer term, he'll move his body in and out. You could go to the body on him and he doesn't need to completely step back. He'll just step his front foot back and boom, he'll move his body off to the side like you would with your head to roll with punches. He's a phenomenon, dude. He's not really getting hurt in there. Gun to my head, I would have, at least for now, but we'll have to do this when it gets closer. But gun to my head, I think I would have to say Fury, just simply because they're very similar and very great boxers. And then exactly like you said, it's just that if it's two of the same people and one of them's bigger, you go with the bigger guy. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
But yeah, I'm big on Usyk. That was a great fight. I think as well that Alexander Usyk performance, I think, and you can tell me, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Pick an MMA fight for a real underdog like that, right? A live dog that won. I think out of all combat sports that Usyk, not just him winning, but that whole performance, I think was the greatest underdog performance of the year.
Of the
combat
year?
sports.
It's so
all the combat sports?
Wow. Because the last couple
sports.
The last couple big underdog performances have come at Anthony Joshua's expense.
This is also true.
Yeah, dude. They sure have.
Poor Joshua.
Yeah, he's just, the thing is that's again, like, that's kind of that's how I relate that directly to like what I'm saying with Wilder here. You have Anthony Joshua, the problem is not that he can't be great, it's that he doesn't know how to lean into what he's good at, man. Like, he was undefeated and he's a puncher. That's what he is, So he was undefeated doing that. And he lost to Ruiz trying to be a puncher. Man, that happens. Dust yourself off. But instead, he did get the Ruiz win in the rematch. It was a boring fight. He just, he's like, I could fight this fat guy at length and just jab him to death. It's not, it doesn't show a lot. And short enough, then he fought a Pulev, I think Pulev's like 42. I mean, he's washed Russian guy. It's just, it's not a good look for him. It's like, oh, he got this Pulev knockout. No one cares. But the Wilder thing is the same thing. If you start getting either too angry or too afraid of leaning into what you're good at, and you're kind of throwing out the only thing you've ever had as a fighter, which is your damn game plan. That's your leaning into what you're good at, And if you throw that out, you have nothing. Because the whole heart, chin, all that talk for all these guys, it's great because it means something. But at the end of the day, if that's all you got, it's meaningless. If that's all you got, that's what you got when you saw that kid take on Sean O'Malley. Chin and heart. Where did that get him? What did that kid do? And that's all you get out of that.
Chris Moutinho.
I think he got an ice cream sandwich after the fight. That was
no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I might dye my hair green.
This was awesome, man. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for taking the time and coming on here. I know you got to run in a couple minutes here, but we appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And hopefully we do this again. It's been a pleasure. Hey, one more last quick thing, real quick, 1 minute. Can I do a deep dive on Omar's heavy bag there? Loctite, buddy. Loctite. I'm leaving it in the comments for you. Loctite that bitch, huh? It's like, I know it won't be portable again, but that's the only option, Omar. Okay?
Honestly, I've been contemplating whether I want to even keep this thing or get one of the ones that like I can attach to the wall. They're better for uppercuts and hooks and things like that. And
yeah,
I've been trying to kick this bag, but it's too close to the wall. I'm gonna end up breaking my foot or something. So might have to get something different.
No doubt, especially with the kicks. Those aren't great because they have the sidebars. You got to be careful there.
I'm constantly freaking out that I'm going to kick the sidebar and just
maybe full kick Tony the sidebar like the TIE fighters, you know, like
like the guys that kick the trees.
No.
Yeah,
no, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. It's been a pleasure, fellas. Thank you guys for having me on. I hope you guys watch the fight. Hope we could do this again.
Yeah, man. We definitely will.
Tune into unboxing, people.
Thank you. Unboxing on YouTube.
Later, man.
Sir, take care.
Later.
Awesome. Well, thank you to Tommy O'Neill, the human body snatcher. Find him once again. Boxing. That's 3 M's. Boxing on YouTube. Thank you, Tommy. That was awesome.